Hi, so I am assuming that this is my second week and a third week long tutorial on what makes reliable resources. So the first week was print materials. This week will be what makes online materials reliable, and then next week will be on how to cite each of those resources. I'm also assuming that all the students have assigned seatings, and as they come in, this website will be up for them to see. I'll get started. So hi, 8th graders, come on in and put your books in the bed and sit at your assigned seats. Welcome, everyone. So last week we were learning all about what makes good print resource materials for your research. And this week we're going to take it one step further and look at what makes a good online resource. So I want you guys to kind of look at, this is a great website. I found it amazingly interesting. Does anybody see anything kind of neat about it? Wait, what do you mean there's no such thing as a tree octopus? This website has all the information on a tree octopus. It has where it lives, it's got maps of where it lives, it's got information on where you can donate money. It also has all of this media sightings, all the literature that this has been in. I mean, this looks like every website I've ever seen on the website. So what makes this reliable, or what doesn't make it reliable? And so this goes into our essential research question. So here on the whiteboard, we have our essential question. What makes a reliable, credible online resource? So today we are going to discuss, we're going to do a welcome, an activator, we're going to do an essential question, a quick presentation, a review, a team activity, and then you guys can do your book checkout. So let's see. I want to kind of remember what you guys learned from last week and what you're going to learn this week. So what I want you guys to learn this week is I want you to be able to define the qualities of an online resources that makes them reliable or not. I also want you to categorize multiple resources into categories. And I want you to quantitatively measure the online resources to determine if they hit that threshold, because there is a threshold if they're reliable and credible or not. So the way that we're going to kind of look and see where we should start our learning this week is we're going to play Factel. Yes, I know, you guys love this game, but this is just to kind of see where you guys are at and what we can go through and what we can skip. So I'm just going to do an auto select so there's no fighting. And let's start with website objectivity for 100. So what is the first thing you need to think about when looking at a website? Yes, team one. Is that the website you were looking for? Oh, that's a good question, because sometimes links are fake. You might get spam emails with fake links to banks, or change your passwords, or friends are trying to send you goofy links that aren't real. So yes, you really want to look and make sure that the website is the one you were trying to get to. Anybody else? Are they trying to sell you something? That's another good answer. If you want to get facts on a website, if they are trying to sell you items or even opinions, it's probably not a good site to get facts from. So I will continue this game for another 10 minutes to kind of see where their information level is at and how fast or slow I need to go during the lesson. So great job, guys. I'm happy to see you remembered your lessons on print resources and impressed about how much you already know about online resources. So let me add to your knowledge with a presentation. So we'll kind of go back and just quickly hit on what we did last week. We learned all about primary resources, which are original materials, secondary resources, which analyze the primary resources, and tertiary resources, which is a way to locate primary and secondary resources. And so one thing we didn't learn last week is that databases and indexes online are good tertiary resources to help you find some of the secondary and primary resources that you need. And so you guys already know all about the databases that we have in the library, on the library website. We've gone through them in the past. So now that we remember our definitions around our print materials, let's move on to our online resources. So everybody today is using online resources to find answers to their questions. You can ask Alexa, Siri, or simply type a question, a full question into Google, and you'll get answers back. But what makes these answers reliable, or the websites that are giving them reliable? So there are actually services that websites can use that can bump their levels up on Google higher. And so just because they're number one doesn't necessarily mean that they are the best and most reliable resources. Maybe they paid more money so they could get to number one. Sometimes you might want to do a deeper dive and go to like the second or third page of Google. How many people have actually gone to the second page of Google when you've asked a question? Yeah, that's what I thought. Next time, try going to second or third page of Google. You might find more interesting stuff there. So let's look. If we're trying to find credible and reliable information online, first we need to know what it means. So credible means you're offering a reasonable grounds for somebody to believe what you are saying is true. So like your parents when you were little kids, you believed everything they said what they said was true, even though I know you guys don't believe now everything that they said when you were little was true, because they weren't reliable, because they didn't give you the same answer over and over and over again. Over the years, they might have added stuff to their answer and changed their answer a little bit. So they might have been credible to you as a little kid, but they might not have been as reliable. Not saying your parents aren't reliable, because I'm sure they are, but it's just a way we want to make sure that we trust and we're getting the same information constantly from reliable resources. So another vocabulary term I want to talk about is a domain name. Does anybody know what a domain name is? Maya? Yes, it's the last three parts of the email address, the .edu, the .com, the .org. And so what we want to talk about is, this is a quick way to learn if something is reliable or not. So .com and .net are open to anybody to buy. So we could have Asha here buying a .com website that totally talks amazingly about Trump and gives all these facts and figures about him and says he's amazing. And then Daniel over here buys a different .com site that totally bashes Donald Trump and gives all his facts and information. Now, are those credible and reliable resources? Well, we don't know. We have to dig further into them. But just because they're open to everybody, they need to be vetted more. They need to be looked more deeply and look to see if they're really, truly credible and reliable. At first, you would say, kind of take a step back. Don't automatically go to a .com site and assume that it has reliable resources, because it probably doesn't. Then you have the .edu, which is all education. And you know, education, they try to teach the truth. They really try to be reliable in that. .government, .mil, the government and the military, they also try to be very reliable in their information and have the tendency that they can be trusted and reliable resources. But so just because they're reliable, you still want to dig even further. Like we were talking .com and .net. Just because I said that everybody has it, it doesn't mean they're not necessarily not reliable, but you have to look further into. So what else can we look at besides domain name? Well, simply, how does a page look? So we can start with simple ideas. Is the page filled with ads, commercials, or is it asking for money? If so, they might be trying to sell you something. Chances are whatever information they're presenting will be tilted in favor of their product or their corporation. Not to say that they shouldn't be excluded entirely, but be wary. Kind of keep your head out. The next thing you want to do is look for spelling or grammar mistakes. They make mistakes on these small things. How can you trust that they have the bigger issues correct? You should also look at what's on the page. Does the site fully cover the entire area of interest? Does it have links to other sites that might delve into the topic more, that might make them more reliable? So content and usability are a quick and easy second step to determine reliability. But you still need to go a little further. And this third step might take a little more time and some digging. That is the purpose and the credibility of the website. Look at the tone of the page. Is it stating facts or opinions? Is it trying to educate you on all sides of an argument, or just their bias, just their side? When doing research, it's necessary to understand all sides and not get your information from a site giving their thoughts on the current event. who the person, company, or organization that created their sites or the sponsors they have at their sites is also very important. And that information can typically be found at the bottom of the website where the sponsors are normally located. And about, you can question what they're about. You can look in their FAQs. You can look in their general questions. And typically the main one is on their homepage. You also want to check if they have listed their sources. If they're giving you facts and they haven't told you where those facts are coming from, those facts shouldn't be believed. You need to have a place that you can cross-check the information that they're giving you. Thus, they need to be able to cite all of their sources and all their facts that they're doing. So if they are, there's a probability that these are pretty good. So now that we've looked at different ways to determine if an online resource is reliable, I want to discuss one of the most popular ways people get information online, and that is Wikipedia. So I'm going to go in here to Wikipedia, and this is the Massachusetts Children's Book Award. As you can see, I am signed in, and I am going to come here, and you can see Sophia's War has a colon. So currently it has a colon here, but what I can do is I can go in here to Edit Resource, and here's Sophia's War. I can change that colon quickly to a dash. Come down here, publish changes, and now all of a sudden the Massachusetts wiki page has permanently changed. Now anybody can go into Wikipedia and change their website. So even though you might think it's credible, you've gotten a lot of information from Wikipedia in the past, it doesn't mean it's reliable. Anybody can go in and change the information at any given time. This should not be used for your class projects. You can look down here at the bottom where the resources are and references, and you might be able to use some of those, but you can't use Wikipedia because it's not a reliable resource. So let's go back to the first website we talked about. So who here thinks this is reliable? Oh, wow, nobody does. Okay, so how do you know that? Yeah, what's the thing that makes you think this isn't reliable? Oh, you haven't heard of the tree octopus. You think it's fake. Well, have you heard of the spiny lumpsunker, or the screamy hairy armadillo, or the fried egg jellyfish? These are all real animals that you haven't heard of. If there was a site about them, maybe you would think those are fake too. So what I would do now is go through and ask them to kind of discuss what they thought about what we learned today and what makes this site not reliable resource, and kind of get a temperature of where they are in understanding online resources. So after looking at these two sites, which people most think is reliable or not? Which one obviously isn't? Do you think we answered the essential question? Well, let's look back at some of the questions that we looked at. So first we want to look, are there ads, commercials, or donation portals on the site? Because that might skew the site to be more towards that specific product. Is it a professional layout? Are there spelling, grammar mistakes? Are all the links working? If not, you might want to question yourself if that's reliable. Then you want to look, is the source credible? Do you know the source? Have you researched them before? Just because they're popular doesn't mean they are credible. Look at all the magazines at the grocery store. We've all heard from them. We all know People and Globe and all those magazines. But if I believed them, I would have thought that Harry and Meghan Markle already had 3 children. So you have to kind of make sure, just because you've heard of them doesn't make them true. And most important, can this information be cross-checked? Can you find it someplace else? If you can't, it is not a reliable resource. That information needs to be available someplace else. So now, is all this you need to know what to make absolutely sure that a website is reliable? Well, absolutely not. People get scammed every day by sites asking for donations that aren't true. But the more you practice and the more you're aware, the better you will get at this. So let's see if you can figure some sites out as a group with a team activity. So on your tables, you have a reliable or not worksheet. I want you to go on there and I want you to rate all of the questions 1 to 5, and then determine the total of the questions on each website that you go to. You each have 4 websites. When you are done, You can hand that in to me and you may do book checkout. Great. Thank you guys.